Hey guys, welcome back. This is another Brent Dell or B-Dog hike. I am over here in front of Sandy Neck Beach. This is one of Cape Cod's most rugged and fascinating coastal trails. This is a 6-mile long barrier beach that has stood guard over the Barnstable harbor since the 1700s. These routes match even further back into the Wampanoag or Native American history. This place has been home to hunters, artists, and even lighthouse keepers. Sandy Neck Beach is definitely a place where the sand dunes move like waves, pine forests bend with the wind, and salt marshes breathe with the tides. You'll find ancient dune shacks that will go see deep in the landscape, and the ghostly legacy of a lighthouse built in the 1800s that's still at the end of the bay over here. So let's dive into the sand dunes. Let's go check out the dune shacks. There's a marsh that looks a lot like the Everglades, so we'll get some Florida feel. And we're going to end at Sandy Neck Beach, where there's these beautiful tropical looking turquoise waters. So get ready guys, because this is going to be one of the most epic hikes we've done yet. So you want to park at the main Sandy Neck Beach parking lot because you get to use the amenities like the bathroom. There is no porta potty or bathroom on the hiking trail, and usually the trail can be around 7.5 miles, the general loop that people do. So unless you're really good at holding in or finding a secret spot, I'd suggest to go to the bathroom over here before you hike. And it's $25 to park, which is not bad because you will be here all day. And if you get a nice sunny day like today, you're gonna get to soak in some rays, get some vitamin D. We are going to continue down past where that group is and take a left to get to the beginning of the Sandy Neck Nature Trail loop. Look at these beautiful pink flowers that just grow right in the side of the trail over here. So the trail right here is actually going to start off as like a paved cement, or not cement, asphalt trail. But when we take a left to the start of the actual Sandy Neck Nature Loop, it's going to get all sand. We're going to be walking through sand, marsh, and swamp for the first half of this hike. And then the second half of the hike, it's going to be rocky, pebbly beach. Some nice looking sand, but the special thing is the water is so clean and clear because Cape Cod Bay just juts out past the Atlantic Ocean, and you get the cleanest, clearest looking water. Not always warm, especially at this time of the year. We just hit summer, but you're going to see some beautiful, clear turquoise water. Another cool feature about this beach is it's kind of reminiscent to Daytona Beach. If you get the proper permits, you can actually take a vehicle, as long as it's a 4-wheel drive, and drive on the beach. So when we go back the beachway, we're going to see all the cars driving and lined up on the beach, just like in Daytona. So to get to the start of the Sandy Neck Nature Loop from the main parking lot, just keep following this asphalt trail down. It's not too far down. It's like, I don't know, 0.2 miles. It's right near where the booth is that you check in to get your ticket or pay to park. You take a left right there, you'll clearly see it. So we're gonna walk there and we will be there momentarily. All right, we're approaching the check-in area now. And just to our left, there will be the entrance to the Sandy Neck Nature Trail. So if you don't want to pay to park, and if there's parking open, you can park there freely. That's technically part of the nature preserve and not the beach, but you cannot use the beach amenities like the bathroom or food or whatever else they have going on over there. So just keep that in mind, be prepared. And this looks like 5-minute only parking, so you can't park there. You might as well just pay and get a spot guaranteed up at the beach and use their stuff. Alright, so I know I may have put a map up earlier on the screen, but this just gives you a little bit better of an idea of what's going on here. This is all of Cape Cod, this spot, and this is where we are right now, Sandy Neck Beach. It's like a little peninsula that juts out. The Atlantic Ocean and Cape Cod Bay are over here, so the water is going to be nice and clean and away from any of the pollution from somewhere like Narragansett Bay or the Hudson River Bay in New York. We are going to, here's a more zoomed in version of where we are. So we're gonna hike, it's a 7.5 mile full hike. We're gonna go from here at the start all the way to not the end where the lighthouse is. That adds on another about 4 or 5 miles to get there. We're gonna go right here and turn around through the campgrounds where people can camp overnight, which I want to do one day. Go to the coast of the beach, check out the water, and come back. So if you see here, there's a few different ways that you can take. Most people, I'm assuming, take probably just the half a mile, the 5 mile, 0.5 mile rather. 5.5 looks like it is the longest they have listed here, but on all trails or online you can see that if you turn left at the campground, if you continue beyond the 5.5 mile marker, then you will do the full 7.5 mile loop that goes down the beach, which is what we're doing today. So let's begin. You already see a great view of the beginning of the Sandy Neck Marsh, or they call it the Great Marshes, or the Great Marsh, I believe, one of the two. This is going to be very reminiscent of the Everglades in Florida, so I'm excited to see what this looks like. And guys, interesting fact, this is actually going to be the first 90 or roughly 90-degree day. It's about 85 today. Hike that I've done yet on this channel. I started in the fall in October, and it was maybe 80 back then. Then it got cold, freezing. We did some winter hikes and rainy spring hikes. But now this is the clean and clear weather. This is the kind of things that we can look forward to filming every day in Florida one day. So let's get ready. We're gonna soak up some sun rays together, and I'm gonna show you guys some incredible New England landscapes. So a cool thing about this hike is it's kind of like a museum. They put plaques up about the animals that live here. One of them is the osprey, which is a very large bird. They call it the fish hawk. I've seen them before. They are very brightly colored, and they do live from New England to Florida. They love this kind of subtropical, marshy, wetland looking atmosphere. So let's continue on and really begin the hike now. This is the kind of weather that I like and that I live for, guys. Finally. It took all the way up until like June, but we got some good weather today. You see behind me, this is the whole marsh, the Great Marsh. There's a difference between a swamp and a marsh. Swamp is more freshwater. It's like a type of a wetland. I think they're all wetlands actually, but a swamp is more of a freshwater wetland. That's something like the Great Swamp in Rhode Island has, and there's a few swampy areas around Camp Shepherd and Smithfield. There's actually a lot of swamps in Rhode Island, but these marshes are a little bit more rare. These are by the coast, and there's definitely a lot in Massachusetts by Cape Cod and northern Massachusetts near the New Hampshire border as well. This is where fresh water from maybe like a local river or swamp might collide with the salty water from the ocean, and it causes like this brackish area. It's partially salty water, and no trees really can grow in this kind of environment because the water kind of soaks the soil and makes it very mucky, very wet. But certain types of animals, especially birds, sea life, crabs, they love this stuff. So It's a great place to see wildlife, especially if you're into birding. And the osprey is a big one. Reptiles also like this kind of stuff as well. This is a perfect environment for alligators, but we don't have alligators in Cape Cod. But as I said, reptiles do like it. So this terrapin, this is a diamondback terrapin. It is a type of turtle, and I believe that I don't think they're endangered, but they are not as common as they should be in this area, probably due to development. Maybe if we're lucky we get to see one. Oh, let's keep hitting the trail. So now, the magic of Sandy Neck Nature Trail is that there's so many different types of climates and landscape in one hike. Right here you can see the marsh. Beautiful looking marsh, nice and green. And then up ahead of us, desert. Just sand dunes. This is like the barrier beach between the marsh and the actual beach. The wind blows all this beach sand this way, and it prevents the ocean water from rising too high, I guess, and getting to the marsh and affecting the atmosphere, or the environment rather. But this makes it look very Sahara desert like even more than the Rhode Island desert, which was featured in an earlier video. So for the next few miles, actually, we're gonna have dual climates. We're gonna have desert on one side, and we're gonna have the marsh on the other. Eventually we're gonna take a left and go right into the desert for a bit through the campgrounds before we hit beach, and that's where the magic really happens. Clear water and seagulls and ocean breeze. If we're lucky, we might see some boats and maybe some of the cars driving on the beach too, so that'll be cool. Alright guys, I'm glad we actually got a nice cloudless day today. It is a little hazy because there's some Canadian wildfire smoke blowing south over here, but for the most part it's cloudless. I need the vitamin D, thank God. So here's the swamp, or the marsh rather, right here, and you can see these little canals, right? They kind of cut through the entire marsh area, and there is a part, a kayak drop-off point, I believe on the other side of the marsh, where kayakers, and if you got a nice little rowboat or whatever, canoe, you can go through and actually kayak these different channels that cut through the swamp. So that's pretty cool. That's something I'd like to do one day. I know it gets very shallow at some point, especially this far up, but as we continue on the hike, we're going to see more deeper and more visible ones. They do kind of crisscross, almost like tic-tac-toe, throughout the entire preserve. Over here is more sand dunes, which those will also get more prominent. And in the distance over there's a little island in the middle of the marsh. It is actually somebody's private property. There's a dune shack on that island. Now, I told you can drive on the beach. People actually do drive over here as well. A lot less people do, but you do see cars and ATVs come through sometimes. Some people do go to their dune shacks that they either rent or own to live out here for extended periods, and that would be one of them, I'm assuming, unless it is abandoned. As we get closer, we may get a little good view of the actual dune shack, and there's others ahead also. So over here is trail number 1. We are going all the way to the end, but this is the shortest one. If you're not really that much into hiking, but you wanted to I guess get a good glimpse of what the area looks like, then trail 1, you take a left here and that'll bring you right to the beach. We're going to keep going until we can get to the Sandy Neck campgrounds. Now this is the part where it gets really sandy, like a beach, and if you're wearing lower cut shoes like I am, I just find them more comfortable on my ankles, then your shoes are going to get filled with sand. There's just no way around it. So at the end, we'll dump the shoes out and see how much got in there. And it doesn't make it any easier to go to flip-flops, because then your feet really hurt. There's no support. So you kind of just got to toughen it up and walk on the sand with boots. I think maybe higher cut boots would probably be better for this. But I don't know. I want to be comfortable if I'm doing almost 8 miles. But it does look like New England's Everglades over there. I can just picture a croc or a gator or reticulated python just jumping out. There's definitely some big old reptiles in there. Snapping turtles, I'm sure snakes. But this is getting to be one of the more relentless parts of the hike, having to hike on the sand like this. I've only done this hike with 2 other people who I trusted could handle it. But for the average person, especially if you hike in the summer when there's no sunshade, if you get sunburned easy, if you don't like walking, this may be impossible. But if anybody wants to try, I'm always down to take you. So let's see what we have coming over here. That's a little pool of mud. We're gonna eventually see some cool fiddler crabs, the crabs that have like one large claw and one small. They really like this kind of environment, and once we get a little bit closer to the canal area, we'll be able to see if we can spot some. I'm sure we're going to see some kind of a wild animal today, be it a fish, a crab, or a bird. Oh wow, this looks very desert-like. I feel like I'm in Egypt right now, or West Africa or something. And then that's Florida right there. But wow, yeah, we'll get very immersed in the desert once we get to the campground. That cuts right through it. And over here, I had mentioned that there is a home. So let me see if I can zoom in so you guys can see what's over there. All right, I'm zooming in as much as I can right now, and I'm going to use my editing program to zoom a bit more. I'm going to walk as far as I can before either it gets too mucky or until I see a private property sign, but I've always been curious as to what is over here. Oof, it's starting to stink. Wow, I really am in the bayou now. Oh, okay, it's getting stinky. I don't know how much longer I'm gonna do it. I'm almost there. Still don't see any no trespassing signs, so as far as I know, we're still good. Don't see anybody really. I just want to get a glimpse of the house and see what it actually looks like. I've always been curious. $35. Okay. Interesting. Is this place inhabited? It looks nice as hell, I'll say that. I mean, maybe it needs to be fixed up a bit, but wow. It still looks fairly new, and it looks like people do use it, so I'm gonna leave now, but that was interesting. So right now, that was actually one of the most interesting things I've done yet since I've been hiking on these trails. Is I've always noticed that house, but the water level's always been too high to go check it out, and I've always been so, like, I don't know, like, curious as to how, first of all, people get here. I can see now they drive the off-road vehicles, but Secondly is like, what is over there? And honestly, you know, it looked like a nice little beach house. There was a couple different separate areas. There was like a sunroom. I don't know if it's for sale. I don't know if you rent it, but I'd be interested in looking at that. My car just would not be able to get here, so I'd have to do the walk all the time. Hikers must stay on marked trails. Only $50 fine. All right, well, I guess that's not that much if you want to go sand duning or something. Look at this desert atmosphere. And look at that hazy summer sky. I love that kind of sky. Means it's nice and hot. You can see some hills or mountains over there beyond the marsh. And there was a section very close to here where years ago there was actually a dead whale, or a whale that got washed up or beached, and it somehow made it all the way up here. I don't know if it was like a hurricane or something, but I saw its skeletal remains, and there was even still some flesh on it. I actually think it was right over here where we are walking towards right now, that patch of grass right there, because I remember like it rotted underneath it. So I don't know if there's any remains left of the whale. It was earlier in the year that time when I went, and I think that they removed it. Woo, it feels like it's cooking out here now. This is like a very warm climate, like atmosphere, and it's also very warm. I like it. Hopefully it's a harbinger of what's to come. Look how endless that marsh looks, like it never ends until it hits the hills over there. There's actually another body of water, part of the Cape Cod Bay, on the other side. So we're going to keep walking. Looks like the trail is going to take a right turn and then kind of like go back a bit. And that's where we should start seeing the old sand dune shacks that are all hanging out by the sand dune looking towards the marsh. So that'll be pretty cool to check out. And over there we got the desert atmosphere with some wildflowers. Make sure you bring some water on this trip for sure. Alright, as you crest this turn, you see the first dune shack, and that looks really nice actually compared to the other one. Even that's looks like a finished home. So let's walk towards it and see what it looks like. Alright guys, so right in front of us you can see the marsh, and there's the more like nice looking fixed up house over there. We still haven't made it, but there was actually a hidden dune shack right here. Let's walk up as close as we can and take a look at it. This don't look too bad either, actually. Very wooden. I would totally live in one of these spots off the grid. I just got to be self-sustaining first. Alright, let's continue the trek to go to the other place up there. Look at those canals, they're like big fissures in the ground. The water level seems really low today, so they're pretty dried up. But around here is where you can usually see those fiddler crabs. Oh, I see them. Let's see if we can take a look without scaring them, or at least if you can take a quick look. I just saw a couple of them. We'll get a better view where I don't have to risk getting the ticks on me. There's more up ahead. I don't know what this thing is for. Just like a general table or a makeshift bench maybe. There's a lot of weird wood all around this place. Alright, so we're getting a bit closer to this other one. This is private land. Alright, so we really can't get on that property, but this one looks like it's relatively newly renovated. It looks like a nice place, like an actual home. I don't see anybody's cars, so I don't know if they're currently living there, but I mean, these places, some of them do look really cool. Imagine having that view every time you leave your house. There's actually a few other strange structures coming up. I remember there was like a larger, like informative building, like information building further up, and then there was even like a campground area too, where you, not the main campground that we're going to walk through, but a small like shed or cottage that you can camp out in. So we'll go take a look at that as well. And the landscape has went from sandy to rocky, and it looks like it's going to get sandy again. Here's an interesting fact if you don't know. Those wooden stands that are out there in the marsh, those are actually nesting places for the osprey, the birds. I don't really see anything in there now, but sometimes you can see them. And there's a few others on the way down, so we might get a good glimpse. That'll be cool. So this is pretty cool. We got a hawk flying over the marsh over there. And down here I noticed a deer print. So deer actually walk on these trails. There's another one. They walk amongst humans. All these deer prints. Pretty cool. All right, let's keep on checking because there's more to see. So this is cool, guys. That shack over there looks like it might be powered by wind power. They got a windmill over there that's flowing. That's smart because it is windy out here, but it's like a nice warm breeze. So human ingenuity. Wow, this place seems like it never ends, and it looks almost like a different planet. But I'm walking all the way to the end. Wow, look at this one. They got a really nice sunroom over here. And there's their view, all those birdhouses. All right, let's keep moving. I think that the little lodge that people can camp at is over the corner over there. And then we got to trek to the campgrounds before hitting the beach. Check this out. Dead horseshoe crab. The exoskeleton left behind. I really wonder how they get so far up here. I mean, I'm assuming that maybe the wetlands are more wet sometimes, and then days like this they dry out and the crabs get stuck and just fried under the sun. I wouldn't want to eat that meat though. It looked pretty rotted. Okay, so right here is that first camping lodge that I had talked about. Looks like they give water out to the hikers in case you need a refill. It's going to be pretty warm by now, I'm sure. But looks like they got a little campfire here, and yeah, you can camp out in here. People left stuff to cook. Norman J. Fontaine, he loved beaches and sunsets and sharing them with those he held dear. Looks like they dedicated this to him, the Eagle Scout troops. Oh, this is new. There's a window here. I don't remember this being here last time. Alright, cool. Let's take a little break and get some water and we'll hit the trail. So this place looks cool. This is further down the trail. Got these giant sand mountains. There's the marsh again with those canals that usually when they're more full you can kayak down. You can see how they go across the whole marsh. But over here I just saw a bunch of fiddler crabs. They kind of look like little cockroaches almost, or like little bugs. I guess that's what they are. Let's see if we can catch any on camera. Oh wait, it's mucky over here. The water level is insanely low. Oh, there's a crab. What's up, dog? Alright, we got one. Whoa! Yeah, I'm all slippery because of how wet and mucky it is. What does it look like in there? Alright, let's see what's going on up here. Don't see anything in there. We got one big old crab at least. So check it out, guys. I told you that the osprey nests are those posts over there. There's one, if not more, maybe one with its babies right there. You can see the wings. and you can hear him. It's a beautiful bird. Wow. There he goes. I don't know if it's like guarding. If it's guarding its nest and trying to like threaten me by flying around like that. Now what's crazy is there's gonna be way more birds when we get to the beach side. Like there's these little seagull-like birds that attack. Oh yeah, she's like defending her nest. Alright, I'm not gonna go near it, don't worry. I told you there was some kind of a clubhouse or something, halfway house. I think that this is open at certain times of the year and you can go in and refill for supplies. I've never seen it open though once since I've been here. And I don't even know if you can get in. Let's see. No, it's fuse shut. Yeah. Oh yeah, so she was like really feeling threatened by me, I guess. But anyways, we're gonna get like attacked by birds on this trail once we get to the beach. What's going on over here? So it looks like I was wrong. There is an outhouse if you need to go again. Can you see what's inside the halfway house? Yeah, it doesn't look like it's in service at all. So the halfway house is not open. That's a beautiful bird. I wonder if there's like an instinct, like she thinks I'm gonna hunt her or something. I'll be walking away soon. All right, next stop will be the campgrounds. Wow, look at this. You can clearly see the canal cut right through the marsh. And then I can't really get down here, but let me see if I can stick the camera down here. I don't know what it looks like. There's a crab. So far we're seeing a little bit of wildlife. We got the crabs and the ospreys. I'm sure we'll see those small seagull-like birds on the beach that like to flock around me and bomb dive me. Oh, whoa. Okay, anything over here? Some periwinkles. All right. There's a lot of rocks around here. They get even crazier looking by the beach. The rocks look nice and wet and polished. You can usually find some pretty cool looking stones. We'll see if we can find anything that's interesting enough to take home. Let's go onward. All right, guys, take a look behind me. It's getting windy, but it's still warm. Look at that awesome view of the marsh right there. And you can see right here, the campground is going to be to our left. So trail number 4. If you continue down that way, it goes to a private village at the end of Sandy Neck Peninsula. I believe it's called the Sandy Neck Village, but you need a pass or some whatever to get in there to prove you live there. And there's also the old lighthouse there, which they do not grant access to, but it was an 1800s lighthouse that still stands. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that from where we are. It's too far down. But if you live there, or if you want to go online and search pictures of it, it looks pretty cool. I'll actually put a picture up right now. All right, so that was the lighthouse. And right now we're walking towards the campground. So we're going to say goodbye to the marsh, and we're gonna go fully into desert mode. Let's see what awaits us. Alright, so over here gets a little confusing. This is actually the horse path. Hikers, you want to stay to the left. If you keep going this way, this will lead to the Scenic campground, which is going to be our next destination to stop and get some more water before we exit the desert and enter the tropical oasis. And you'll see what I mean when we get there. Alright, so this officially is the start of the camp area for Sandy Neck. Let's sit down at this picnic table and take a quick water break, and then we'll see what the rest of the park has to offer. Looks over there, it says erosion control, stay out. So they're trying to make sure that the natural vegetation or the sand doesn't erode. So they get some refillable water. Luckily I brought a couple jugs already. Firewood, I guess it says no fires, but there's firewood storage, I guess. That's weird. Some porta johns. Alright, so you do have other places to go to the bathroom on the trail. I think that really is all that's around the campground. You can just like pitch your tents over here in these areas near the picnic tables. Next stop is going to be to get back to the sand dunes, and on the other side of the sand dune will be the ocean, or Cape Cod Bay technically. So let's go check it out. I hear it's pretty beautiful. Well, I know it is actually. I've been here. Alright, so back on the sandy roads. Oh, it looks like there's more campers this way actually. I do actually remember people do bring like vehicle campers, like vans, and they do camp out on the beach directly. So we're gonna walk by that on the way back. That's gonna be pretty cool. Look at this setup, that's nice. Gearing up for the weekend. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you something very special. Right now you haven't seen any ocean. It's been all either marsh or sand dunes. And even up ahead, you can see there's a big sand dune, right? What's special is what's on top of that sand dune. It's going to break and change everything. And if you've been going through any kind of a funk or depression or any kind of problems, what I'm about to show you is going to change your perspective, and it's going to change it even more if you can never come out here in the first person. So get ready. Well guys, that's it. That's Cape Cod Bay. This is actually a part of out in the Atlantic Ocean. Juts way out, and look how crystal clean and turquoise blue that water is. Oh my god. That is beautiful. Apparently there's some nice blue-green algae growing right now. Let's get up closer. This looks like we're on a nice tropical beach. Whoa, whoop. I just tripped over this wire. Here we go. Okay, that is beautiful. This reminds me of like the coast of Vietnam or something, where they have these towering rolling cliffs right by the clear tropical ocean. So let's get nice and close. This is what I live for, guys. You can actually kind of see way out in the distance where the land curves. It's a little too far to walk right now, but that's where that small private town is. Oh yeah. All right, let's get up close. So what I've noticed is the water is beautiful, it's crystal clear. I'm sure it still is a little chilly. I'm not gonna go swimming now. There's also sharks out here as well, great whites. But you can see the waves aren't very big. So even though it's got this nice, beautiful, warm look to it, it still is a little chilly and it's very calm. You can't really surf here. But I love the Caribbean look to it, it's amazing. The plan now is going to be to hike all the way down this coast here until I can get back to the beach parking lot. So all in all, the whole hike is about 7.5 miles. So we're looking at about 3.5, a little over like 3 3/4 of a mile each way. I just finished the sand dunes, so that was about 3 3/4 of a mile. And now I got to do the same distance back this way until I can get to the Sandy Neck parking lot. So I may still have over another hour left of hiking. It might not be as long as the way out here, just because the trails did twist and turn and go through a few different areas. This is just going to be a straight shot, but I'm anticipating about an hour. And then I want to go get some food. I'm thinking either Indian food or maybe even pierogies. We'll see where destiny takes me. Right now I'm enjoying this beautiful scenery. All right, let's keep filming and see if we encounter any animals. Look at these tidal pools. Way out in the distance you can see there's a lighthouse. It looks like a lighthouse, at least, if not maybe an office building or something. It's a tall building on the corner. And you can see how the water cuts into the sand and fills it in these tidal pools. This area of the beach is nice and clean sand. It's been worn down a lot. But as I remember, as we get closer to the parking lot, it's going to get more rocky, and we may get the chance to see some really cool minerals or exotic rocks. So let's keep an eye out for them. But right now it's very nice and beautifully and nice crisp sand. Very nice. So it looks like the tide is rising. I couldn't cross that little tidal pool over there. I had to get more up on the stony, rocky part of the beach. But I want to get back onto that sand because that was way easier to walk on than this crap, for sure. These may be some of the stones I was talking about earlier, actually. If anything cool sticks out, I'll take a look at it. I have collected some pretty interesting looking quartz crystals here before. All right, let me get back on this way more comfortable sand. The waves don't ask questions. They just come, steady, relentless. The day I stood here, camera in hand, there was peace, a stillness in the wind. I didn't know what was coming. Not really. I didn't see the shift, the storm building behind me. But maybe the ocean did. Maybe it always knows before we do. Since then, everything's changed. The tide pulled me under for a while, but I'm still here, still standing, still filming, still dreaming. Because even when life crashes hard, I was born to match the waves, to rise when everything says sink, to become more. I don't know where this current leads, but I trust it'll take me to someone who gets it. Someone who's been through the flood and still dares to build. Until then, this camera rolls, this heart beats, this fire burns, and I will not disappear. Yeah, we are actually facing west right now, so the sunset will set that way, which is pretty cool. We're walking towards the sunset and getting all the beneficial rays. Ah. I can feel all the sand in my shoe. Can I get across this one? I mean, I'm gonna do it regardless. Here, this way looks easiest. Ah! Whoa! Okay, now the sand turned to mud. Oh man, look at that endless, nice, crisp sand. I love it. This looks like something from Bermuda, if I had to guess. There's a boat out there. I don't see any cars yet on the beach. I don't know how far up they're allowed to drive, but I'm sure as we get closer to the parking lot, we should still see some. Yuck, here's another dead horseshoe crab. This one's in a lot better shape than the other one. So it must be freshly washed up. It's like barnacles or something we're growing on them too. Ugh. Here's some of the minerals I was talking about. What's up, Seagull? This looks pretty cool. It's like a zebra colored rock. Interesting. I'm trying to find a rock that looks like a nice, like, interesting crystal. I found some cool, like, clear orange quartz here before, and quartz crystals. Keep an eye out and see if I can find anything that's really special looking. So I ended up finding this pretty interesting looking rock. It's like this dark gray with these white stripes going through it. It almost looks like a black crystal or something. So I'll keep this one. This seems like it holds spiritual significance. Look at this. There's a big old one. Similar design kind of, but much bigger. Really cool. Look at this water. It's incredible. So right now we're still heading that way, and I can start to see where the people drive on the beach. So we're not too far from the parking lot anymore. I'm gonna say maybe at least another half hour. So we're gonna keep walking, and we're gonna hit this vehicle area and check out some of the cars that are parked on the beach. Look at the seagulls just chilling right on that sandbar over there. That's funny. A ton of them just hanging out, enjoying the nice view, the nice breeze, the nice waves. Oh, fly free, buddy. All right, I can see we're getting close to where the campers are and people drive, so let's pick back up when we get there. So right now you can see here, these are the campers, the people who camp overnight on the beach. As we get further up, the day trippers will be over there, and those are the ones who just drive their cars straight up. So we're getting there. We're almost back to the parking lot. Check out how they put these fishing rods right here just to catch a fish. All right, so we're finally getting to the vehicle area where you can drive on the beach. You see some people already doing that. I gotta say, this hike started off pretty okay. I mean, walking on the sand was kind of comfortable, but now walking on all this uneven, really rocky, pebbly terrain, and I've been doing this for, you know, almost 3 miles now. My feet are starting to hurt. So it's a long hike. The first part's not so bad, but believe it or not, this beach walk is relentless. But towards the end of where those cars are parked should be where the parking lot is. So just gotta keep on trekking. Take another look at that beautiful water. So we're ending this campground area now behind me, and almost to the end where the parking lot was. It's been about 7.5 miles. And the first part of the hike, like I said, isn't so bad. The sand's kind of soft and feels good on your feet, but when you get to the beach and you're walking over on these uneven pebbles and the beach is kind of slanted a bit, it really takes a number on your feet. So I'm tired, especially after doing like 6+ miles of the big river management area yesterday, plus this today. I'm spent. But up ahead will be the end of the area where you can drive your cars on the beach, and there's a little rope ramp, or like a wooden ramp, where I'm gonna climb up to get back to the parking lot. Look at that seagull and the tropical water again. Alright guys, so that was an adventure for sure. This is always a great trek. Amazing exercise on this hike. Absolutely. If you need sun and you want some nice warm air and beautiful oceanic views, I highly recommend it. So let's face this way and let's actually sit down and take our shoes off and see how much sand we got in them. Alright, so I'm taking a seat down, looking at the beautiful ocean. So let's see how much sand we ended up getting in these shoes since the whole hike started. Jeez, it's already spilling out, it looks like. I guess that wasn't so bad. Oh, nope, there's a lot more in there. Oh, wow. Okay. I'll empty the other one out. When that stuff gets stuck in your shoes. Oh, yeah. There we go. Okay. Alright, I don't want to bring that home with me. But I do want to bring these positive beach energy home with me. Or energies home with me, rather. That is beautiful. Alright, well, I'm hungry. And I've been doing this for about maybe 4 hours. So let's get out of the sun for a little bit and recuperate. Alright guys, so that was the Sandy Neck Nature Trail. 7.5 miles. Beautiful hike. And now we're walking away from this amazing ocean. We'll be back for sure. Right now though, I'm very much enjoying doing this kind of vlogging with you guys. Just this raw, unfiltered, minimally edited experience, so you can really see what these hikes are like. I'm thinking next weekend we're gonna do another woods hike. Maybe I might go to a secret Smithfield spot. So stay tuned. There's gonna be a lot more shorts coming from not only this hike, but other ones I've done in the past as well. And I really hope you enjoyed Sandy Neck Nature Trail in Sandwich or Barnstable. They're on like the same line in Massachusetts. The beginning of Cape Cod. Alright, well, I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this sunny day, get a bit to eat, and thank you very much for liking and subscribing. I hope you all have a great evening.